Welcome! I'm so glad you're here. In this session, we're going to work on building your confidence with a really foundational skill in pharmacy, equivalent measurements and conversions, and we're going to take it one step at a time.
So, to really get the most out of our time together, let's just start with a simple practice, something to help us focus our minds for learning.
Okay, let's do this together. First, just place both of your feet flat on the floor. Good. Now, take one slow, deep breath in and let it all out. And finally, just notice that you're here. You're present and you're ready to learn.
And that's it. See? That simple little act of pausing, it really helps prepare your brain to learn effectively. So with that, let's dive in.
So you might be wondering, why are we focusing so intensely on this topic? Well, it's because mastering conversions is about so much more than just math. It's really about making sure every single patient is safe, and it's about building your confidence as a professional.
And I want to be really clear about our goal here. This is not a race, okay? It's all about deep understanding. So please, feel free to pause, rewind, and come back to any part of this anytime you need to. This is completely your learning journey.
So here's where it all connects. You see, medications come in all these different units, right? Grams, milligrams, milliliters. And getting that conversion right, well, that isn't just some problem in a textbook. It's the absolute critical step to make sure a patient gets the right, safe dose. And you know what? Every single time you do this correctly, you're building that confidence you need in your practice.
All right, now let's start building your foundational toolkit. Think of these as the core conversions you're going to use pretty much day in and day out. Getting these into your memory is really the first huge step towards feeling that sense of mastery.
Okay, so we'll start with that bridge between the household measurements we all know and the metric system, which is, the language of medicine. So 1 teaspoon, that's 5 milliliters. A tablespoon is just 3 times that, so it's 15 milliliters. And then a fluid ounce is about 30 milliliters. I promise you, you will see these all the time.
Okay, and here is our very first memory anchor. This is a big one. I really want you to lock this into your brain. Write units with every number. Seriously, this one single habit is your absolute best defense against making mistakes. The units, they'll guide your math. They'll tell you if you're on the right path.
Next up, we've got the core metric conversions. And I want you to notice a pattern here. It's all about the number 1,000. See? 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. 1 milligram is 1,000 micrograms. And for volume, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. This consistency, it's your best friend here.
And this brings us to our second crucial memory anchor. If you can, maybe even say this one out loud with me. Convert before you calculate. I mean it. Always, always, always get all your numbers into the same units before you even think about adding or subtracting or multiplying. This one step, it just sets you up for success and stops so many common errors before they can even start.
All right, so you've got the tools, now let's actually put them to work. We're just going to walk through a couple of examples together, nice and slow, step by step. Absolutely no pressure here. Okay, here's our first problem. A prescription says take 1 tablespoon every 8 hours for 5 days. You might see every 8 hours written as the shorthand Q8H. The question is, how many milliliters should be dispensed? Now, before I walk you through it, I really want you to just pause here and think for a second about how you would approach this. Go ahead, take a moment, it's worth it.
All right, you ready? Let's break this down together. So, step 1, what's our rule? Convert before you calculate. So we take that 1 tablespoon and turn it right into 15 milliliters. Easy enough. Step 2, we need to figure out how many doses are in a day. Well, there are 24 hours in a day, divided by every 8 hours, that gives us 3 doses per day. Step 3, let's find the total number of doses for the whole treatment. 3 doses a day times 5 days, that's 15 doses total. And finally, step 4. We calculate the total volume. We have 15 milliliters for each dose, and there are 15 doses, so that gives us 225 milliliters. See how each step just builds so logically on the one before it?
And now, for our final and maybe the most important memory anchor of all. After every single calculation, I want you to just stop and ask yourself this simple question. Does this answer make sense? Let's think about it. 225 milliliters. That's a pretty reasonable amount for a 5-day supply of a liquid medication. It's not something tiny like 2 milliliters, and it's not a massive amount like 2 liters. This little common sense check, that is your final and best safety net.
Okay, let's try one more. Same deal as before. I'll read the problem, and then please just take a moment to pause and try to solve it on your own. And remember, our anchors.
So, how did that go? The whole trick to this problem, the crucial point, is that you just can't subtract milliliters from fluid ounces. They're different languages. So step 1 has to be, say it with me, convert before you calculate. We take those 10 fluid ounces, multiply by our conversion of 30 milliliters per ounce, and we get 300 milliliters. Now everything's in milliliters, right? So step 2 is just simple subtraction. 300 milliliters minus 60 milliliters leaves us with 240 milliliters. This is a perfect example of why that rule is so important.
Okay, we've done a bit of guided work together, and now it's time to kind of shift gears. This next part is all about strengthening the connections in your own mind, and we're just going to do that through a little bit of reflection. So, no more calculations for a minute, just some thinking.
So just take a quiet moment to think about this. Of all the conversions we've talked about, which one feels like the most important one for you to really lock in today? Maybe it's that 1 tablespoon is 15 milliliters, or maybe it's that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. Just pick one that stands out to you.
Okay, let's reinforce that key habit we've been building. Before you do any math at all, adding, subtracting, whatever, what's the very first thing you're going to check? Just let that answer come to you. Yep, it's all about the units.
Here's a little critical thinking question for you. Imagine you're in the middle of a calculation, and you notice, the units aren't canceling out the way they should. What does that tell you? What's that a signal for? It's a big red stop sign, right? It means something in your setup isn't quite right, and it's time to go back and check your work before you go any further.
All right, we're getting near the end of our time together for now. And I just want to close out by reflecting a little on what you've accomplished and reminding ourselves why this skill is just so incredibly vital. So, before you go, just think back to when we started this just a few minutes ago. What is one thing, it could be a concept, a conversion, a rule, that feels just a little bit clearer to you now than it did before? Take a second to really acknowledge that progress you've made. That's such a powerful part of learning. And please, never forget that every single time you practice this, you are building skills that directly protect patients. What you do really matters. If this calmer approach to pharmacy math was helpful for you, maybe consider subscribing so you can come back to it whenever you need a refresher. Or you could always share it with a classmate or a colleague who you think might benefit too. Thank you so much for your focus and for learning with me today.